Welcome to On Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today, we're talking about Lost Season 5, Episodes 11 and 12. I'm Will. Also here is Ben. And you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. That comes out every week. So we're here, we're watching Lost. We're deep into season 5 here. And in my opinion, it's the Terry O'Quinn show. The John Locke character is one of television's best, and Terry O'Quinn's performance is so great. I don't think we've appreciated enough on the podcast.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good, but he's not what keeps you watching the show.
Dude, he's S tier. He's S tier character, S tier performance.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess I don't disagree, but he's not what keeps me watching the show.
I don't think it's super obvious. I mean, I think he's obviously doing a great job, but I think that if anybody else played this character, it would just not, the whole show would fall apart, I think.
What if Tom Cruise played?
Yeah, that'd be insane. That'd be bad.
It might be good. It could be better. Maybe it would be better.
I doubt that. I think there's something about his face, his face. I mean, and what he does with it is obviously a big part of it. But his look is something just mysterious and about this guy. It's so good. The character John Locke has had an agonizing journey to get to this point. And it finally feels like the character is prepared to meet the moment here in season 5. His reach and his grasp have aligned. His eyes and his stomach have scaled commensurately. And he's perfectly poised over his skis, ready to stick the landing and hopefully avoid any more leg trauma. It's my kind of overwrought intro to it. But I just really was struck by his performance here. Even though these weren't necessarily the John Locke episodes. That was the life and death of Jeremy Bentham. We got a Ben-centric episode this week, and what even happens in Whatever Happened. A Kate episode. But I was just struck. I just wanted to take a moment and recognize just how good John Locke is.
Terry O'Quinn is, and John Locke.
Yeah, the character's great.
I think is what
Terry
you're saying.
Yeah.
I think something that annoys me about Locke sometimes is that he's not like one of the guys in Heat. I wish he was a little less goofy at times.
That's so important to his character, though. He's kind of goofy. You can't.
It is. I know. I'm just. What if Al Pacino is John Locke instead?
Come on. You're kind of a John Locke hater.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of.
I think we've kind of always been on opposite sides. I took to him immediately, and he was an immediate favorite. And you've always been
a hater.
Yeah, always kind of a hater. I don't like that about you. No, I disagree with you on that.
Well, I disagree with you too. So yeah, makes sense.
What? I guess it goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Why don't you like John Locke, man? What's wrong with John Locke?
Well, like I said,
just because there's a lot of characters in this show who aren't Al Pacino. Basically, nobody is Al Pacino except one guy. You hold that against me? You hold that against everybody else?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. He just needs to lock in a little bit more. Give me a little. give me a little more badass guy.
I think. Well, I think he's
vibe.
He's coming into himself here. into the finally in these episodes.
He
I
is.
think like
Yes.
he's hanging a little bit more dong.
He's giving people responses like, "Really? Are you sure about that?"
Yeah,
That kind of stuff.
yeah.
Which I like.
Seems like you should go over there and figure it out yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Really, what I'm looking for is that moment a long time ago when the thing that you joked about when he talks to Charlie, when he's like, that's an interesting thing to say for a heroin addict. Do that all the time. That's what I'm looking for.
that's interesting because yeah, he was at his like. There's something about his like. He's always been a very self-assured character, and it has been mostly like he kind of doesn't really know why. He's very convinced, and he's been wrong a few times about like what he needs to do and what his mission is. But he's a man on a mission or whatever, and he kind of has this like when he was dealing with Charlie, at least with his addiction.
Yeah,
I think John Locke had the self-assuredness and confidence to mentor him through this, as well as the righteousness of action that has not those things have not always lined up for him.
Yes.
And so I think now we're kind of getting into that. Like it feels like he's got the self-confidence and there's the righteousness of what he's doing.
Yeah, yes, something like that. I don't know if righteousness is the word that I would use, but I describe it as this. This is the thing that gets to me. There's a difference between being Robert De Niro in Heat,
Okay.
and having that kind of confidence versus being, a GameStop, the evil GameStop manager who's also extremely confident in himself, or maybe a small business tyrant type thing, where you are, the coolest guy.
When you think
at
you're the man
your
versus when you're actually the
local
man.
country club. Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And Locke is a little bit more, Xbox Live tough guy versus, or maybe that's not the right thing. He's not a tough guy, but confidence versus he can really back it up, But he's getting there. He's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there. And he's always been on the path, though, is the thing, too. Because, like, a few episodes ago, he talked about, like, I wouldn't change anything because it's made me the man who I am today, or something along those lines. And, like, that's a very, like, self-aware, like, moment of reflection for him to have. But, like, I don't think he needed to be driven to do this. There was always something driving him to, like, keep moving forward. And finally, I think he's figured it out, or it seems like that, even if we aren't there for him.
Sure. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
That comes up in these episodes that I like a lot. The John versus Ben thing, where we've talked about this recently, where Ben doesn't have the upper hand anymore. And I think John says in these episodes again, though I think he said a similar thing in the past to Ben, like, does it frustrate you that you don't have the answers to the questions that you're asking anymore? And I think there's a little bit of an implication in there that also does it frustrate him that Locke has the answers. And I like that for Locke.
Yeah.
That's the thing I've always liked about Ben, though. I liked when Ben had the answers.
He always had a plan, always had the answers.
Aware.
I wonder, though, if Locke actually does have the answers, though. Like, we haven't really, like, he's determined and he's on a mission now. But, like, I kind of wonder if he does actually know what's going on. He might not actually have the answers. But it kind of...
But he acts like it.
But he acts like it, and it also doesn't matter. Like, at that time. Like, it's still going his way anyway, for lack of... I can't think of a better way of articulating. It's still going his way. He's still has the upper hand. He's still the man in this. You can have the answers. Having the answers, I guess, isn't necessary to being the man. Ben was the man for a while, and he had the answers. Having answers helps to being the man, but maybe you can hang dong without having the answers.
Sure.
Season 5, episode 11, whatever happened, happened. In high school, my friends and I would say, it's what it's, excuse me, it's what it's to each other. And this episode title reminded me of that. This aired April 1st, 2009. It was directed by Bobby Roth, and it was written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. Shortly after the Oceanic Six's rescue, these are flashbacks, Kate and a baby Aaron visit Cassidy, who is an ex-girlfriend of Sawyer. It's always good to see Kim Dickens. I feel like we should just do it like a Deadwood, like on the Patreon or something. We should do like a Deadwood rewatch or something because it's such a great show. Kate gives Cassidy and Sawyer's daughter Clementine an envelope full of cash from severance pay from Oceanic. Cassidy deduces that Aaron is not Kate's baby, prompting her to tell the truth about everything that has happened on the island. Cassidy eventually leads Kate to realize that the reason that she took Aaron as her own is because Kate needed him in order to get over the emotional attachment that she had to Sawyer. And so, on this topic, this is I do think this is a very good episode, and I think that it does a lot for Kate's character, who's been a little stagnant in previous seasons, and in this season has kind of been like there's something going on, but like can't figure it out. But I think that the show's point of view is that Cassidy's read on Kate needing Aaron in order to get over her emotional attachment. I think the show's point of view is that this is a correct character judgment about Kate. But it sure seems like Cassidy is projecting to me. In the moment, Cassidy sort of like psychologizes and is like, I think you needed him. You know, kind of,
joke's on you. I don't believe in psychology.
I mean, it probably should be mentioned that Claire did actually leave, though. Like, sure, maybe Kate needed Aaron psychologically to move along in her own hero's journey, but that kid did need someone to take care of him. They can't all just look around and decide, you know what? I'm actually in a pretty good place emotionally right now, so we're just gonna like leave the baby there. Like somebody is gonna have to pick it up. I'm not saying it has to be Kate, but like just because somebody is like not gonna let the baby die in the jungle doesn't mean that like this means you have like baggage with your ex kind of thing.
Baby in a dumpster, and you're like, oh, we should go save them, and the other person's telling you like, I think you're projecting a little bit.
Yeah, like I will be dragged kicking and screaming into believing in psychology, I suppose, but like you just can't, right? Someone has to save the baby.
Yeah,
and I do think the show believes that like, okay, that is true about Kate, but yeah. Anyway, after the survivor's confrontation with Ben, Kate momentarily loses Aaron in his supermarket. She recovers him from a woman who bears a strong resemblance to Claire Littleton, who is Aaron's mother. You ever get lost as a kid in like a supermarket, something like this?
No, it was not my style to
to get lost.
to get lost. I was a rule follower. I think you know that. I would stand by my parents, I guess. I don't know.
Sure. I think
Did you?
Me as well. I do remember, like, there's one that really sticks in my memory. I remember wandering off with my little brother at the science center here in town. I was probably like 5 or 6 at the time. So my brother was like barely, I guess I don't know what stages of development. He was like super little, I guess. But I walked into the elevator because I wanted to go down to the bubble station in the basement at the science center. And I got down there and realized that our mom wasn't with us. And I grabbed my brother and went back to the elevator. Meanwhile, apparently my mom was searching all over the floor that we had disappeared from and had enlisted other adults and employees. They didn't find us, so they moved to the basement just as we got in the elevator. Like they went down the stairs and we went back on the elevator. We missed each other. And so like, and I couldn't find her on the upper floor. And so I just decided to keep riding the elevator up and down. Instead of just staying in the same place, I just like kept like going up and down. So I'm picturing a very like yakety sax of us just like missing each other. They eventually found us, but I still remember like the after effects.
You're still
I'm
lost.
still in the science center. I'm still like rocking out with the bubbles, dude. There's like a cool like big table with like dish soap and water mixtures that you just kind of like put like cords into, made big bubbles, whatever. But I still remember like the after effects of the adrenaline. Like my leg was just bouncing like crazy, and my mom was very happy that I kept my brother with me and didn't just abandon him.
Nice. Yeah. I think sometimes you get in those situations and you realize your parents are pissed, or you realize like, oh, this is bad. I better continue to hide. I better never be found.
I do remember expecting to get into trouble. Yeah. Not because of that, like my mom was like angry, but I just like knew that like, you know, like, oh, this is a scary thing. And so like I kind of, for some reason, thought that like, oh, I did something wrong here. And I was really surprised that everybody was really nice to me. Like when they found, like everyone was like happy and relieved and nice. For some reason,
you don't realize that stuff as a kid. You think it's your fault.
Yeah.
If you had an adult's mind as a kid, you'd be like, damn, my mom's going to be in deep shit. Right? She must feel like trash right now.
I mean, and yeah, as an adult, I just like feel really bad for her because like, good Lord, you want to take your kids and do science for one day, or, you know, like learn a little thing, do some bubbles, whatever. And like, I just like, I'm in my own little world. I just like we were going from point A to point B, like past the elevators, and she was like one step in front of us, and it just like occurred to me to like whoop, and just like get in the elevator and like sneak away. And so like I just feel bad for her.
Nice.
Anyway, so after she recovers Ben from the woman who looks like Claire, as she decides to return to the island with the others who left, she leaves Aaron in the care of Carol Littleton, who is Aaron's biological grandmother. Kate also tells Carol that she is returning to the island to find Carol's daughter Claire and bring her home. And I gotta put my hands up here. It's just funny to listen to Australians talk, I think. There's not like any two ways around it.
I had a little bit of a conspiracy thought this time to
They're
myself,
faking
which
it?
I did not research. I kept thinking, I don't think this lady's Australian. Something about it. It was like something was off. Folks, that was not an Australian person. They're trying to fool us. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. Something was off. She sounded.
She's British.
It's like exactly, yeah. It sounds like if you're listening to like
Susan Dwerden.
like the difference between a regular British person and then if you hear like one of those royal people on TV or whatever, and they're not the same. And she was more royal. It sounded fake. It bothered me.
Maybe that's what I was picking up on, because she's like, but Claire died in that plane crash.
Yeah, it's fake.
And it like
Folks,
it's just kind of goofy.
We uncovered it.
Yeah,
we uncovered it.
Got to the bottom of it. I think it's cool that Kate's mission is to find Claire. I think that like that feels right.
Is it her mission, or is that her new mission? Not to go back on the psychology stuff, but that kind of seems
Oh, is she gonna find Claire as a way of dealing with Sawyer or something?
Well, like when she's like, "Why are you going back to the island?" Claire, of course.
No, I felt like that.
Claire.
I think that was. She seemed determined in that moment. She seemed like
in that moment,
she believed it. She believed it there, I guess. But you're suggesting that maybe there's maybe like a deeper.
It's a convenient. It's convenient. I'm not saying anything too deep, but I'm saying that's a convenient thing to say. I feel like maybe if she didn't have the kid, well, I guess yeah. If she didn't have the
I don't
kid,
think it's that convenient of a thing. It's like a big fucking like hassle to get back to that island, dude.
well, no, I'm just. It's a convenient thing in that moment to say to Claire's
Sure.
mom or whatever.
But I believe it. I believe it though.
Mm.
Shout out to Evangeline Lilly. She does a great job in this episode. I will say. I think she does. Like, it doesn't often get like a ton to do, but I think she does a good job here. And I'll also say about this scene with Kate and Carol. Kate needs to get an affirmative yes from Carol about becoming Aaron's like caretaker. She's just kind of like, I told him that you're going to take care of him. And then she kind of leaves. Like,
yeah.
We're really going to need to establish that like Carol's going to take care of the kid. All right.
I don't know. Kate did the handoff.
What do you mean you don't know? You can't just be like, you can't just deputize anybody randomly to take care of your kid and be like, I said that that rando was going to watch the kid. You got to like.
But she did. And that's what matters. I guess you can just do that because she did, right?
But it wouldn't be. But if Carol was like, no, fuck that, and like checked out of the motel and like never went to check on Aaron, I guess we don't. Maybe that is what happens. We don't see what happens.
Think
it's not Carol's fault.
I think
like legally,
it would be Carol's fault. I
no,
think it would be Carol's fault.
She never agreed.
Okay, if you're in Italy, which I've never done, but if you were in Italy and you go to Rome, right? In one of their scam things that they do on the street, they've got the Roma people, whatever, who do they used to throw real babies at you. I think they do fake ones now, right? That's the thing. They kind of toss a baby into your arms so that your arms are occupied, and then they can steal your stuff, steal your wallet or whatever, because now you're holding a baby.
This sounds like another one of your urban legends, one of your xenophobic urban legends that you love to tell.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But then you can just pretend it's a thought experiment instead.
Imagine a slightly swarthy individual coming up to you. That's you.
You got the baby in your arm. Yes.
Okay.
The baby's OG mom, the person who's robbing you now, she's responsible. But I don't think the law lets you just drop the baby. The law's not like, oh, you could just drop the baby. You still got to hold the baby.
She didn't take possession of. Now. She didn't take like guardianship of like holding the baby. Is that affirmative? Is that affirmative? Yes.
Anything other than being like, take this baby with you. Take this baby with you, or like in the Aaron case, being like, do not leave this place. I'm like kicking him. I'm not going to do it. You. I'm not doing it. Yeah. That baby's in your arms now. Aaron's in your arms. I don't think
that's the case. Aaron's in the room a couple doors down. She has plausible reason, I think, to imagine Kate's going back to the room.
It's in her house. It's in her castle. No. castle.
Two very dumb guys pretending they know about the law. Sure, okay. But okay. Maybe legally, I'm not gonna. I think a stronger case for me here is just the I'll even grant you maybe you're totally right about the legality of that too. But as far as I believe that Kate does care about Aaron earnestly, sure. And I think that Kate is looking for more than just legal culpability of if Aaron drowns, it's going to be Carol's fault. Carol's going to get in trouble for it, not me. I think she does want Aaron to be safe. And so if you're in this guardian position, I do think you would press somebody for a yes, I'll look after your kid.
Sure.
Right? Okay.
I agree that you should do that.
Yes, you should.
I'm just saying Kate successfully did not do that. In case law and street law, castle doctrine, and what I'm going to now dub the Roma doctrine.
Please don't.
They all say They all say, that's your baby now.
Okay. She got lucky on that though, I think. I would press for a yes. I was press for the yes. That's my motto.
As a lawyer, I would be remiss to not tell you to press for a yes. But street precedent shows that this has been done before.
Street precedent
with a simple, I told him you'll be taken care of you. See ya.
How far does that extend there? How far does that extend?
Well, it might not extend across international borders, but this is all American street
precedent.
And what's happening in America again. So
they were in the same room. Baby's not in the room. Your kid's not in the room. They could meet out in the parking lot and like presumably have the same conversation face to face. Baby's in the car. And Kate's like, I'm gonna like leave the keys in the car. And now that's like your responsibility to deal with that. Yeah? No? I don't know. Could Kate be saying that from across the parking lot? Like it's like technically audible, but Carol is like isn't like you need to establish a prior conversation. No, I think that this is a slippery slope. I think you need to Your Honor, this is why I would press for the yes.
And Your Honor, this is why I would say it's all one castle. There's no concept of a room in street or case law or common. What do they call it when it's like when they're like British law or whatever? British
Commonwealth
stuff. Yeah, but when they're like when occasionally some
common
American
law
thing is they're like British common law, which we like adopted or whatever, that kind of crap.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know, but they don't have room. There's no concept of a room there. It's just castles. And that baby was in, Your Honor, that baby was in her castle.
So I guess then is the point that like, could you just like mail somebody a letter? And like, if you open the envelope and it said like, hey, you're going to come like move across the country and like take care of this kid because I entrusted him to you, you're going to do that. Like it's your responsibility at the end of that point.
If you welcomed the letter into your castle, and the letter had the baby inside. It's
all one castle though. How the castles across the country is according to your argument.
No. We have separate castles.
What separates the castle?
This is a private property respecting country that we live in. Different people have different properties and castles.
Folks, this is why we need tort reform.
Torts, yeah.
Torts.
British torts.
Often confused with turts, but torts, they don't swim. All right, let's talk about 1977. After Saeed shoots a young Ben, Jin wakes up. That was a classy like you versus me argument that we've been having for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. After Saeed shoots a young Ben, Jin wakes up and notices the situation. He brings Ben to the barracks. Before he even brings Ben to the barracks, though, he radios in, doesn't he? He radios Miles? I can't tell who he's talking to.
Somebody. He's like, they're like,
he's
Saeed
heading north.
Escaped. And he's like, I know, because he whacked me over the head or whatever.
Yeah. Jin brings Ben to the barracks so that his injuries can be treated by Juliet. Juliet is unable to perform the necessary surgery on Ben and sends James Sawyer Ford. Sorry, Wikipedia always says like James Sawyer Ford, and I always have to like on the fly translate that. We're just going to call him Sawyer. But okay, he sends Sawyer to retrieve Jack, a spinal surgeon.
It's weird. So it's established in past episodes that they realize that Juliet can do doctor stuff, right?
Some doctor stuff.
Well, some pretty big ones. She did births. That's a big one. But they're still
that's what her specialty is, yeah.
But they're
and
still
appendectomies.
Yeah, thanks for that, but yeah, you still gotta work in the machine shed every day, every day, right? She's still working there because she runs into Kate.
Not. This is the first time. This is where doesn't Sawyer go get her? Oh, you mean like generally like they usually have a doctor in the
Well,
mix, and the doctor's
three,
off. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But why wouldn't you welcome? Why wouldn't you just be like, Juliet, you're a doctor
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. Why wouldn't you assign her to that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you first joined the Dharma Initiative. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe she just
You
wants to like.
really,
I think it's more symbolic. I think it's more like indication of like her starting it over or starting a new like a new chapter kind of thing. Like they're kind of
sure.
different people now, um, more than just yeah. But I mean that's a good point. Like as far as utility goes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she gets dragged back in just when she thought she was out. They dragged her back in to take care of young Ben. Meanwhile, wait, no. When she gets pulled back to do the birth, Amy's birth, or when Amy goes into labor. Yeah. Meanwhile, Hugo Hurley Reyes and Miles Strum debate the nature of time travel. This is a fun
They
scene.
they're
They're
doing
doing fan,
what we were doing.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
podcast where one of them
Great.
calls the other an idiot. that's
Yeah.
that's the true nature of podcasting right there.
Was any production notes on this one? Were these like I don't know, like were they really worried about wanting these things that they say to be addressed?
They've stopped the production notes. That's kind of like the disappointing thing. I've noticed that when we did the like Star Wars and the James Bond movies too, like at the late, like the more recent stuff, the more recent we get to like, it seems like the 2008 is about the cutoff. 2007, 2008 is like now everything's really locked down in corporate and you can't get the cool juicy stuff. There's like no production
Come
notes.
on, Wikipedia. How are we supposed to do a podcast based off of all of your content if you guys don't even give us
If you don't
the
give us the
content?
content. Yeah. I mean, if we're missing something big, gang, like the production notes for these episodes are like Susan Dwerden was starred as Carol Littleton in this episode. Like, okay,
Cool. Who got a DUI?
yeah,
this
who got a
week?
DUI?
That's what I
Was
want
she
to know.
like drinking and driving? Otherwise, don't tell me about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a fun conversation between the two of them because I have to imagine that you're totally right. Yeah, that like that these are definitely like we're gonna have two characters like talk through the time travel like situation here, so it addresses things that we've talked about or like that fans have been talking about on the message boards and whatever. Hurley is convinced that they have changed the past, like Back to the Future. He's like waving his hand in front of his face, waiting for himself to disappear because they've changed the past. But Miles says, "You moron! These events have always happened in the past. What happened, happened." Hurley, however, points out that an older Ben did not recognize Saeed when he was tortured in 2004 as the man who shot him as a kid, which is seemingly a good point if Ben was not also a mega liar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he just lies about everything, even when he doesn't have to.
But we'll see. It will be
We will
addressed
see.
shortly.
Yes. Jack, knowing what Ben does in the future, refuses to help, saying that he already saved him once.
So Jack and both Jack and Saeed are now kind of like early lock mode where they're like, shit, I could just stop trying because this stuff's gonna happen no matter what I do. So maybe I should just chill out. I don't want to do anything anymore.
I suppose I don't want to dignify Jack with a Locke comparison, though. I think Jack is acting out because he's not in charge anymore.
Sure. You should go back to the island and compete with Caesar then.
I mean,
He
seriously,
left him
like he
there.
should do something. He's just a narcissist, I think. Juliet confronts Jack about his choice to stay out of it, and She has better reasons of letting Ben die, and she still helped. Jack is just like throwing a fit about it. But when Juliet confronts Jack, I thought it was kind of funny. She comes to the house that he's staying in, and he's taking a shower. He's like doing the dishes when he's like, nah, I think I'm good. I'm not gonna save this kid who's bleeding out. And then he goes and takes a shower while Ben is dying. And Juliet comes to the bathroom, crossing her arms. Jack steps out of the shower and is, to the chagrin of that one commenter on Reddit that we read from before, body bold. He also puts on a shirt when he's soaking wet, which is a very like TV thing to do, TV movie and thing to do. Like you don't dry off, you just kind of straight out of the shower, t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Unless, am I weird? I dry off before I put my clothes on. Do you put your clothes on when you're soaking wet?
I've been doing what I call the Lost challenge now. It's actually the Sawyer challenge, where I emerge from the shower and I immediately put on a big pair of bell-bottom jeans.
Oh, you're not showering in your jeans? Dude, you got to take that to the next level.
I guess that's the real challenge.
Yeah. No, but you know, am I wrong for noticing that like characters love putting their shirt on while they're wet?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So this whole situation with Ben drives Kate to do everything she can to help Ben. She goes to the sick bay where Ben is being treated and donates her blood because she is the universal donor. She strikes up a conversation with Ben's father, Roger, who is upset that Ben stole his keys and freed Saeed from the jail. Once it becomes clear that Ben will succumb to his injuries without further intervention, Kate decides to take Ben to the others, the island's native population. So I'm still. This is, listeners. I'm sorry. That I'm not like the. I'm not the intellectual giant that you expect and hope that I am. Sometimes I'm kind of forgetting that the others are not the Dharma Initiative. Like kind of keep them separate. But no,
confusing when you've got a name like the others.
Yeah. So others and hostile. So that's one group. And even though they're in the same buildings, it's because Ben took over those buildings later as another. Still don't know what the others call themselves. Like to know that. Sawyer comes to Kate's aid, and they bring Ben to Richard Alpert, who warns them that if he treats Ben, he will not remember what has happened and will never be the same again. I believe the line is, and I believe you probably also noted this, if I take him, his innocence will be gone and he will never be the same again. This is the biggest pause, bro, of all time.
I genuinely didn't catch.
You didn't clock that?
No.
He's like, I'm going to take this kid's innocence. They'll never be the same again.
When you put it like that, pretty weird.
Pretty fucking weird, dude.
I was on Richard's side too before, but I can't.
You can't
abide. I can't abide with that.
They agree anyway. There's also a funny moment where, like, you know, Kate and Sawyer show up to like hand over the body of young Ben who's bleeding out. They're like, all right, whatever you do, just save his life. Don't care whatever. Like, I know you get to keep him. All that. And so like Richard like takes Ben and like walks away, and Kate's like, wait, where are you going? Like, I don't know, we just talked about this, like they're gonna go save him. I don't know, like you don't have jurisdiction anymore.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna up around the corner, and then we're kind of middle of the block. That's my place. That's where I'm going. What are you even expecting?
Coconut tree on the left. Yeah.
For an answer there.
We're gonna do some like other shit, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Another other urges Richard to inform Ellie of his intentions and implies that Charles will not be pleased if he finds out. But Richard says he doesn't answer to either of them. Richard then carries Ben into the temple. All right. Flash forward to 2007. After being knocked out unconscious by Sun, Ben wakes up in the infirmary and is greeted by John Locke, who welcomes him back to the land of the living. It was just very fun to watch Michael Emerson like wake up and like do big wide eyes looking at John sitting there next to the bed.
Yeah. The kid was doing wide eyes too. I don't think I appreciated that before, but it's always been
the Lostopedia article describes it as like young Ben does the Ben stare,
there.
which is fun. Yeah.
Nice.
4 out of 5. Good app.
Yep. It's a good one. 4.
Nice. This episode of Lost on Ice is brought to you by myself and Ben together. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We're having a great time doing it. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And, tell a friend about the show if you're into Lost or if you're into stories of being lost in the Science Center or whatever. Also, head on over to patreon.com/drskeleton. We got some stuff for you there, too. Let's talk about Season 5, Episode 12. This is called Dead is Dead. This aired April 8th, 2009. It was directed by Stephen Williams, and it was written by Brian K. Vaughan and Elizabeth Sarnoff. This is the episode that Michael Emerson won an Emmy for. It's so crazy to think that he was only supposed to be a guest for an episode or two. And now he's just like a major part of the show.
Turned it around. Yeah. Big time.
That's like a real like success mindset type story, right? It's like show up in the mailroom and then you like work your way up to a recurring star kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want a quote from user Stuntman Mike on Reddit here. Your first viewing of Lost will always be the most unique and pure, but episodes like today's argue that it couldn't possibly be your best. Even an inkling of what's really going on here isn't good enough. When you know it's one of the most clever and delightful episodes of the series, it's a peek at what Lost might have always been if it were made under more reasonable circumstances. I think that's very interesting. And I'm obviously watching this for the first time. You're watching it for a second time, but it's been many years since you've seen it. I wonder if, like, big Lost heads. It seems like this episode, this Dead is Dead episode, is a big one for big Lost heads. I think there's a lot of that in this season, honestly. Like I said last, or maybe a couple of weeks ago at this point, that, like some of these episodes will maybe hit harder upon rewatch, and it sounds like people agree with that, at least for this episode.
What's the part about more reasonable conditions? If it was made under more reasonable conditions, what would those be?
Yeah.
Not everyone getting DUIs while at Hawaii? I can't think of anything else.
I'm guessing that means more so like the network television-ness of this situation where, I mean, it really is. Like Lost really is like the bridge. I mean, whatever. I don't know. Sopranos came out before this started. So like prestige television already existed. But like the era where this started and where it ended are like two different eras of TV. Like this ended like firmly in the kind of like it's like House of Cards time, baby. Like we're doing like streaming bullshit from here on out. Like this is where like the main action happens. And of course you'll get your Breaking Bads and your Mad Men still on cable after this. But as far as like network, like the era of Twin Peaks and Lost stuff, like this is kind of it. And I think this is a good bridge between the worlds. And I'm guessing it's kind of like the network TV-ness of it is what they're sort of referring to. Other conditions. Maybe he was being haunted by a monster and everyone was drunk. Yeah. No, but I would love to like one of the things that I'm interested in when we finish this watch of Lost, we're going to do a few episodes at the end of this series where we're going to get into like some big time spoiler stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm holding myself back from researching because I don't want to spoil like where this ends up. Like, I'm not reading interviews with Damon Lindelof. I'm not reading other interviews with creators. I'm not looking at the documentaries and stuff. I know that there's a big one coming out or has come out last fall or something called like Getting Lost. Like I want to watch that. I want to know all about this kind of stuff, but I'm holding myself back from it because I don't want to ruin it for myself. So we're going to spend some time at the end of this after watching through the show. Maybe we'll have a little bit more context for that in a month or so.
Sure. I've withdrawn from society altogether so that it's not spoiled for me.
I might argue that that's incidental, but all right. Flashbacks. In 1977, Ben Linus wakes up in the other's camp, not remembering that he was shot. So yeah, that answers it. He just doesn't remember. I guess they do kind of say that. He's not going to remember this. Also, I'm going to take his innocence, and also he's not going to be the same. I'm not going to move my pencil around. But he doesn't remember. He doesn't want to go back to his dad. He makes a big deal about that. He says, like, I want to be an other. I'm fine. I'm glad we're finally spending a little bit of time with the others. I would like to spend a little bit more time. I want to know what the heck is going on with those guys. You know?
Yeah.
Also, wait, where's Daniel Faraday?
Where do you guys go to the bathroom? You live in the forest?
They do talk about in this episode moving into like the real houses and stuff, and I wonder if a bathroom was a big motivator for them. Like, seriously, you guys, like, you can just flush and it's like it goes away. Like, you don't need to bury it and stuff. Like, you just gotta try it. Trust me on it. Ben meets the leader of the others, one Charles Widmore, who tells him he's one of them. And dude, Chuck was a hunk. He was a nice looking guy.
Interesting take. Okay, old guy in a.
He wasn't old.
Well,
when like Ben wakes up.
Am I misremembering? Yeah.
He's played by like Alan Dale or whatever that guy's name is for like most of it.
In a wig.
No, that wasn't him. We get a younger.
The guy with the longer hair.
The longer hair. That wasn't the same actor.
I think it is, isn't it?
Really?
Look it up. It's incredible likeness, if not.
All right, let's see. Sorry, hold as I look this up.
Give this guy, if they're not the same guy, give that guy the Emmy for
looking like Alan Dale.
Looking like another guy, because he is
Sterling Beaumont plays young Benjamin Linus.
Charles Whitmore is played by the regular guy who plays Charles Whitmore.
I am not. Yep, David S. Lee as young Charles Whitmore.
Wow, give him the Emmy. Give him.
Yeah, this is obviously a different guy.
They look so similar. Wow, that's crazy. Looks like the same guy to me, gotta say.
No.
Next, you're gonna tell me that Ben Linus wasn't playing the little.
Michael Emerson.
Michael Emerson wasn't playing the little bit. Ben Linus.
Then I have bad news for you.
Wait, sorry. I got Michael, little Ben Linus, and what's his name? Ken. Ken is the actor's name.
Miles Strong.
Miles got a very similar outfit going on, and they are very, like, I guess still. Actually, no, it's just about to happen in real life in 2009 or so. Kind of proto Justin Bieber look going on.
Sure.
They both got like purple hoodies kind of over their head.
Mm-hmm. You ever rock that look? This is probably the time when like we would have been.
No, I did not. But I
had the zip up hoodie.
I did, I guess in an ironic way, I did like Justin Bieber. Didn't really listen to the music, but I thought it was fun to like pretend to like Justin Bieber. I remember like writing like an essay about him and stuff like that.
What? Wait. You pretended to like Justin Bieber, but didn't listen to the music because you thought it was
Didn't really, because it
funny.
just wasn't that good. I didn't listen to the music because it wasn't that good, but I thought it was kind
But you
of
wanted people to think that you liked Justin Bieber.
fun in an ironic way to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
be into Justin, to go to like the midnight premiere of his like Justin Bieber movie. Do you remember that too?
No, you ironically went to the midnight premiere of Justin Bieber's movie.
It probably wasn't like the real midnight one, but I did see it like in the theater.
Did you go with anybody or just go by yourself?
No, I went with friends, did this as well. Yeah. You look at very judgmental. I think this is pretty normal thing.
Okay. Sure.
Anyway, these guys are looking like Justin Bieber.
I guess you would know. In 1988, Ben kidnaps Alex as a baby from her mother, Danielle Rousseau, whose life he spares. But before leaving, though, he tells Rousseau to run in the other direction if she hears whispers. He returns to the other's camp with the baby, which disappoints Charles, who wants Ben to kill both mother and daughter. Ben does have his limits. What do you think about that?
I was really distracted by the guy's hair, to be honest, at this point, because I did think it was the same actor
Younger
with a wig.
Ben's hair?
No, younger Widmore's hair
Okay.
when they're having their argument later on.
I liked younger Ben's hair. He has like darker hair. He has kind of like, or he just has it combed differently. But they're like, we just got to do something with your hair so it says, so you read as younger, that we're in a different time.
He does have kind of the Justin Bieber swoop.
I suppose so.
I suppose so, yeah.
My hair was like down like this in this time. I kind of had like the Justin Bieber thing.
You're looking like, are you Justin Bieber?
Hey guys, Justin Bieber here.
Hey guys, this is Justin Bieber.
Hey guys, it's Justin Bieber. God, I hate that guy.
What does he sound? I don't even know what he sounds like nowadays.
He's Canadian, right? He's like, oh, hey.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, I'm a real hoser. I love Lost. I wouldn't like to be on that island. He's Irish now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Freaking. I don't know, and I can't do jokes about Justin Bieber. What are some of the songs, Ben? Baby.
I don't know, baby. Baby. Yeah, that's about it. I can't think of it. That was it. That's actually all they were.
Now, do people like him now?
I think so. I think he's still like, because I think he's like a Zoomer.
Zoomers like him. Is he still doing music?
I don't know. Isn't he like he wears like tattoos or something?
He's like our age.
I'm probably like 10 years. I'm probably like actually like 10 years out of date.
Right.
But like, wasn't he like a tattooed guy going to like the hipster, badass Hollywood church or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, that is literally like 10 years.
That's about all I know. I don't know.
Yeah. I was definitely like terrified of thinking that I was one of those like, I was born in the wrong generation. Like I'm listening to Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and stuff.
You were not listening to Led Zeppelin. I know you.
I literally was.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
My dad's friend had like a huge cardboard box full of classic rock CDs that he brought over one time. And I like put them all on my iTunes at probably around this time. And
wow, that's different than I would have. I
was
I
big
didn't remember that about you.
Classic rock.
No disrespect.
I had no idea what was going on currently with music.
Even though what I'm about to say is going to be disrespectful, but I would have pegged you in high school as more of like a Zooey Deschanel style, whatever her band, what duo was, listener.
It was like Her and Him or something, right? Or she,
yeah. She and Him or Her and Him or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, is that a company now? Isn't that hers and Hims? Isn't that a company?
The big Zooey Deschanel corporate split. Who was the him? Who was the guy? Who's is there a Mr. Her?
Is there?
I think you're just
That's
saying
what I
that
thought.
because
That's what I thought you were listening to in high school.
She and Him. She and Him is an American musical duo consisting of Zoe Deschanel and M. Ward. Who's M. Ward?
Interesting.
Matthew Stephen Ward. There you go. Sounds like a real lost name.
That's a Ms. Ward.
It's M. That's Monsieur in French.
But no, but they could do MS. 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 Ward.
Yeah. Have you seen people do the MX?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to say mix, right?
Yeah. Mix Ward. I think it's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You were saying you didn't like that, but I think it's cool.
I didn't. You know, it should be Maxter.
Maximum. Yeah.
Maximum
Ward.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Respectfully, everyone who uses that
should consider
colloquially change it to Maxter.
I would just like to submit, something for the committee to consider. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what are we talking about? Okay. Charles wanted Ben to kill both mother and daughter. Years later, Charles is banished from the island for breaking the rules by leaving the island frequently and fathering a daughter to an outsider. That's Penny.
Yep.
I think it's interesting that Ben's play for island leadership is not a violent one, but bureaucratic. I think that's fitting for the character. Before he leaves the island, Charles tells Ben that Ben will ultimately be banished as well because he is unable to sacrifice Alex's life. Following Alex's death and his leaving the island, Ben, just before boarding a Giro 316, confronts Penny Widmore, Charles's daughter, and shoots her husband, Desmond Hume. Ben states his intention to kill Penny in retribution for his own daughter's death. He calls Charles Widmore. He's like, about to kill your daughter. Eat shit. Yeah. Lose my number.
It is very to say that it's threatening is a dumb way to put it, but it's threatening. It is kind of a scary thing. I wouldn't want to hear that.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm looking at our mutual friend right now, which is apparently the name of their boat.
Sounds like a Zoe Deschanel joke.
I was gonna say I kind of liked the name of so maybe I would, if I knew about Zoe Deschanel, I maybe would have been a fan at the time. But I was like, I was like,
you didn't know? Wow, that's really is surprising.
I mean, wasn't paying attention, dude. Yeah.
Do you think there were people at the time? Were there big Ben Linus heads? Not like people who are like
doing like fan cams.
That's a great character, but no, like talking like high school tanky style stuff where they're like, Ben is the best. Ben is he did nothing wrong. Ben is the only moral character. That kind of stuff.
Probably. Yeah.
How do you think those people read Ben then? Because if those people,
I think
existed,
that this episode complicates them to a degree that probably the Ben tankies were feeling pretty vindicated.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I knew we had a good reason this whole time.
Do you think people read Ben versus Charles Widmore as like a George W. Bush v. Obama situation?
That Ben is Obama because he usurped Widmore.
Yeah,
Not that I think Obama usurped. Succeeded, I guess. It became the leader.
you were
because of Ben's false birth certificate. I see. Yes.
You were a George W. Bush three-time voter. You were hoping for his third term.
Wasn't aware of the George Bush. George Bush? How do you spell that? Let me look that
Bush.
Zoe Deschanel, was he the him
You're
to
telling
Zoe
me there's a
Deschanel's
W.
she?
Bush.
Yeah, I was really into classic rock and George Bush Sr. um, do you think Ben is irredeemable? It's that kind of sounding like you at this point.
No. I'll put it out there. I think they're all redeemable.
All right, kind of a cop out though, but like, do you?
No, I do. I think everybody could become my favorite character too. on
Not
one
saying
side,
anything with that though, right?
on
You know
one
that?
side, well, I'm giving you kind of the spectrum. On one side, I think you're redeemable.
Oh, you're giving me
Yeah.
the spectrum.
In a moral sense, I think
Okay.
these are all redeemable in God's eyes. And then on the other end, I'm letting everybody know you're redeemable in my Ben, the podcast person's
I'm
eyes.
saying that's not an interesting take. But like,
Well, what did you mean?
seem to
What do you mean by it?
you seem to indicate that like, you know, like, oh, the, you know, like the Ben heads might have felt like, you know, vindicated with this episode, who were like, you know, Ben did nothing wrong here at this point. Like,
Yeah.
what? Where is he like he maybe could have been, he could be redeemed, but like, you know, if we're doing like, you know, like the old like Bethesda RPG type behavior, like he's putting like points into Paragon or points into evil like along the way, where is he at right now? Like, is he like, has he been transgressing more than he's been salvationing? I don't know what to say, but like,
Yeah. I think so.
he's like more villain. He's more villain than hero.
Yes.
He did kill a
Yes.
bunch of guys.
Yes.
They said that he's responsible for a genocide, and I assume that means the
Those people. Maybe it was
the
something else too.
because it got me thinking like, whatever. I don't.
What did he do when he left the island?
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that? I guess it just maybe like, is that what they mean by that? It's like when he wiped out that village, or like the
I think so.
the Dharma.
I think
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so but I don't understand what the distinction is between what we were just saying and what I was saying, because I think, yes, he's mostly been being a villain, but I think he could turn it around. I think he could do something good.
I guess mostly I wanted to hear if you like, maybe this whole time you thought, I didn't think this was what you thought, but you could maybe think like, oh, I just knew the whole time that he, or felt the whole time that he had like a good reason for what he was doing, and you know, whatever. Or like either the stuff that he, like the things that it looks like he's doing are bad, aren't that bad, or like maybe, you know, the things like, for me, I don't know. I think back to like when he killed John Locke. He like switched over after he heard Eloise Hawking's name, and I think he like killed him out of rage is maybe the wrong word, but I don't think it was like this like he's not like as calculating as he pretends to be.
Yeah, he's better at improv.
Yeah. He improvised, and I think that the episode is like very deliberate in showing you that, like, just like he like straight up just contradicts himself several times. God, wait, are we on this? Yeah, we're on this episode. Yeah, or the last episode. Yeah, yeah, he contradicts himself several times. So like, yeah, he's just lying, he's calculating and all that. But I think that he's putting on an air of like always having the plan more than he actually does. Like he's out for revenge in this episode. Like that's not just like a purely logical scheme. And he's like calling to gloat. And he's got these like evil desires within him that I think that like I don't think that can be like fully not to say he's like irredeemable, because I guess I agree with you that like anybody can be redeemed, but like on the show, but the God, where am I going with this? whatever. Who matters? Let's just move on. Fuck this. Episode 13, 14 next week. End the show. Just kidding. Okay. Yeah. He does hesitate when he's gonna kill Penny because he sees their son, Charlie. Ben's hesitation allows Desmond to beat the fuck out of him, just like completely whoop his ass and throw him into the water. So this is why he was beat up on the phone to Jack earlier. Another demonstration of his limits, I guess. So he's got a code of some sort.
Yep.
He won't do that. In 2007, Ben wakes up after having been knocked unconscious by Son and is greeted by John Locke, whom Ben previously murdered. Again, Terry O'Quinn has a great face. Ben tells Locke that he has broken the rules by returning to the island after he left it, and that he must be judged by the smoke monster. He's like, we don't really have a name for it, but I believe you call it the monster.
Yeah.
I would suggest maybe coming up with a better word then, or something. You don't have a name for that?
You guys didn't come up with a name?
You have like a whole like security system to prevent it, but so the whole time you're just like that, the fucking, the whatever's out there. The whole time you're doing that, you guys didn't think of monster?
Because we're calling it the security system the whole time. Yeah.
Kind
of would have assumed it was sort of like a, Inuit type thing. 7 names for snow, whatever. Which also, urban legend or not?
I think it's a lot higher.
Higher. Okay. So there you go. I would have thought it'd be like that. Got a bunch of names.
Everybody probably
thing.
like once again. I still think monsters may be like a bad word for that, but
Smoky,
big smoke, yeah,
big smoke, Papa Smoke.
Caesar tries to stop them from leaving, but because he's the world's most manipulatable man, and Ben implied Locke was a threat, he is like, don't get in the boat. I've got a gun. But he doesn't actually have the gun. Ben blows him away with his own gun. Et tu, Bene?
Yep.
Got his ass. Upon arriving on the main island, Ben and Locke travel to the Dharma Initiative's barracks, where they find Son and Flight 316 pilot Frank Lapidus. Son shows him the photograph of Jack, Kate, and Hurley, who have traveled back in time to 1977 and joined the Dharma Initiative.
Everybody has such a funny response to seeing the picture, though. Every time it comes up, what? They were in the Dharma Initiative? What? That's crazy. Yeah, dude, you're on the Magic Island. Well, happens all the time.
My response, I guess, wouldn't be like, whoa, I didn't realize they're in the Dharma Initiative.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be more like, what the fuck? Can you explain this? I guess.
Yeah.
Ben
tight.
claims
they never mentioned that they were in it before.
Huh. I guess I didn't realize that they were 30 years older than they actually were, and they're actually been doing it before. Yeah. Ben claims ignorance to this. I don't believe him. But I gotta say, call back to last episode, or 2 episodes ago. I love the way he lies. Frank joins the unbuttoning my shirt contest. He's exposing a lot of chest. Son also tells Ben that Christian Shepherd instructed her to wait for Locke because together they will be able to rescue the others from the past. And important to note, at this point in the episode, my dog Marty passed big gas on me at this point in the episode.
Sorry to hear.
A little stinky guy. Frank decides to return to the smaller island where he is taken hostage by Ilana and several of the other 316 survivors who ask him if he knows, quote, what lies in the shadow of the statue. Poor Frank. I like Frank. I said this about him earlier, but he's just trying to help. He tried to like come over and see like what can I do to help. I heard that there's like they got some guns. He's like I'm gonna go figure it out, and then immediately like bonked, taken hostage.
Did the thing where Locke talks to Jack happen in this episode, where Locke's like, "Your dad told me to say hi," or whatever?
No, that was Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham.
That was a long one ago. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's stuck in my head.
Meanwhile, Ben, Locke, and Sun, I guess Locke should have told Christian. I guess Locke doesn't talk to Christian in this episode, does he? Sun does on the inside.
I guess so, yeah.
Meanwhile, Ben, Locke, and Sun travel to a temple belonging to the island's native population called the Others. If you're just joining us.
Yeah.
Underneath the temple, Ben is separated from Locke, falling through. It's very like Indiana Jones level here. He falls through the floor, continues on his own. He's separated from Locke and confronted by the smoke monster that like pours out of these holes and surrounds him and shows him memories. It replays several of Ben's memories of Alex. The smoke dissipates, and a manifestation of Alex appears to Ben, telling him that she knows of his intention to kill Locke again. She warns him to follow Locke's lead without question if he wishes to live. Ben agrees, and his life is spared. Alex says to him, "If you hurt him, I'll get your ass," or something like that. It seemed like she was supposed to say, "If you touch a single hair on his head," but obviously that line wouldn't work.
Yep. I remember hating this episode when I saw it the first time, or this scene in this episode. It really bothered me for like a very petty reason that I don't agree with anymore. But I was really taken out of it by, like, this is one of those kind of rare moments of maybe the most maybe I'm forgetting something, but probably the most like in your face ones so far of like showing the monster, which I don't mean the monster that we're talking about. I just mean that in the general sense of like,
Sure. Yep.
In a horror movie, things are often like scariest just up until the point of when you actually
when they stay in the shadows, just out of
see the
sight.
monster for the first time. Yeah. And like in Lost, the monster is literally this, well, one of the monsters is this smoke monster thing. And it's a CGI thing, and it's always a little, or can be like very disappointing to like, okay, it's a big CGI
It looks a little
or
goofy.
whatever. It looks goofy, and you've got like the faces from the past and stuff too. And it really bothered me before, but I think it works now.
That's really interesting you say that, because Zoe was kind of expressing a similar statement, not like about the monster, so like differently, but just I thought this is really interesting. She has like the total opposite reaction to this show than I think most viewers of it. She's totally lost pills. She's like super into it, and to the point where she's upset that any questions are being answered. like if there's like a single mystery that gets an answer, if we're not if I'm not taking anything on faith, and then it's a disappointment.
Nice.
And I think this is definitely the like a way better way of watching the show than like, what are all the little answers?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, she was kind of like, oh man, like we see like what happened to Ben, like why he was beat up. We got like an answer to that. Like, ugh.
Maybe I should just not watch the final 2 episodes again, and I can just continue to be mystified.
Interesting. Do you want to try that? Like maybe I watch it and for those last 2 and see if we do.
We'll see. We'll see how I feel when I get there.
So I mean, like, I don't need to rewatch this episode to like it a lot already. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. Maybe upon rewatch, I'll say it's a masterpiece, like Stuntman Mike suggested. But yeah, that's where I'm rating it.
Yeah, it's probably a 4 still too.
Okay. So we agreed on 3 out of the last 4 episodes here. That's going to be it for the show today. If you like what you heard and want to hear more from Ben and I, consider joining our Patreon over on patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show where we're just talking about whatever. Write into the show at drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Comment down below. What we miss? What do you want us to talk about next time? Next week, we are talking about Season 5, Episodes 13 and 14. Thanks for listening.